I wish that everybody would experience, even if they only did it for an hour a month, the joy that they would receive going in volunteering or sitting with someone. This is more than a project. You know, I'm in here making a difference in this man's life, and I'm just coming to visit him. Not saying his kids don't, but you never know. Every time, I believe, is ordained for a certain time. And when you go, the very first time you went, this man got so excited that he tells the nurse, "Is she coming back? I want her to come back." My name is Gloria Smith, and I joined the Agape team in August of 2016. I am the volunteer manager for the Spartanburg area. However, I am the lead volunteer manager over the whole state of South Carolina.
Gloria was my supervisor this semester as I volunteered at Wesley Court Assisted Living, an elder care facility off Highway 9 in Boiling Springs. Wesley Court takes care of a variety of patients, from those suffering from dementia to those with COPD and entering into hospice care like my companion Zach. They also, however, care for patients who simply struggle with completing a few ADLs on their own. As Gloria said, she works for the Spartanburg branch of Agape, not for Wesley Court. The Spartanburg branch of Agape is located in downtown Spartanburg, where Gloria and her team work to place local individuals in the best hospice situation for their specific circumstances.
That's handled through our social worker, and actually he is a repeat. He was there before, and he asked to go back there. So, but they'll give them the best fit, you know, because he can afford to go there. And some people have to go to one that's not as nice, so they have to go where they can pay it. You know, like we have some that are not as nice, and so those are the places, like I think I mentioned to you before, where we go in, and when we're playing bingo and stuff, some of our prizes will be like deodorant and body washes and stuff like that.
And there are definitely plenty of diverse needs to be met.
One of our patients now is late 60s, 68, and she has dementia. So I thought that that was very young for dementia. And what I've learned from her is she's such a sweet person. But I wouldn't say more so from her, but her husband. Her husband takes such good care of her. It's almost, so much so is like when I can't find a volunteer for them, I go myself. You know, so this helped me see that no, dementia is 68. No, it doesn't discriminate. And this lady at that age with dementia, and now her husband has to see this, but he treats her like a queen. It is amazing.
Zach's situation is very different. Born in January of 1933, he's 84 years old, once divorced and once widowed, and one of the sweetest men I've ever met, outside of his COPD and failing eyesight, for which he uses a reading machine called a Merlin. He seems like he's 60, maybe 25. He's sharp as a tack and always positive, despite the hard life he's lived. He loves to tell stories about how he was almost in the talkies back in the day, even though he really wasn't. And he'll wink at you while he's telling you, but he'll never admit it. Or he likes to tell me about his favorite films, like Colt 45.
Shut up! Heard a lot about these new Colt repeating pistols, Mr. Farrell.
And songs like Lipstick on Your Collar. Apparently, he met Connie Francis in a DC hospital after he was injured while deployed in Germany in the 1950s. And it was a very big deal, as far as he's concerned.
People believe, and it doesn't happen just because when you get old you're going to go in a nursing home or assisted living. Right. That's not true. You don't, you know. Right. There are people who still drive, who still take care of themselves. We have a volunteer manager, and her dad lives here. He is 92 years old, and he's an architect. He still drives, and he still works. Yes.
That's amazing.
And he does most of his drawing on the computer. Check that out. Yes. That's one thing as young people, going around older people, you'll see that. And that's one thing that I want to get. I want to be an old people. Think about it. You don't want to disrespect, because I want to be there one day.
Yeah.
You know, and the only way to not be old is to die. If I don't want to get old, I die. But I want to be old people. But I want people to respect me. And so my thing is, I always want to be in my right mind. You know, sometimes, you know, you just have to just being in your right mind. And that's one thing that people think, just because you're old, you know, my kids do it. Mom, I'm trying to figure out where we're going to put you. You're not going to put me anywhere, because I'm going to take care of myself until I'm 100 years old, and then I'm going to be at home. Yeah.
That's something I've noticed about. I tell my dad stories about Zach, and just telling him the stories that Zach tells me, and Zach will tell me just about everything. He tells me about music, he tells me about movies, and he remembers everything.
Yeah.
My dad's just shocked. She said, well, he's certainly not losing his mind. I said, no, he's still there, and he sits there and he likes to tell me all the time about being a learner, about being a lifelong learner.
Yes.
Because I didn't even finish high school, but I kept learning, and that's the difference between me and some of these angry people here, is they didn't keep learning.
And you think about that, you know, that is awesome. And everybody that gets old is not going to have Alzheimer's. Everybody's not going to have dementia. People are going to be in their right mind.
If Zach is anything, it's in his right mind. Every time I go see him, he tries to teach me something. He wants to teach me something. He wants to make my life better. He wants to help me be better. He wants to help my children, who I do not have yet, be better. He reads to me from Revelation, or he tells me about where he went wrong with his own son. He is a man who now lives his life focused on generativity. You know, he's been made the official welcome wagon at Wesley Court because his focus is on building up people who are younger than him or newer than him in any given situation. He wants to share his wisdom and share his life. At Wesley Court, especially, that seems to be normal, though I will always argue that Zach is especially generous with his wisdom.
And we actually had 10 volunteers to go out and help with their trunk or treat that they had, which is amazing, because they allow the residents to go out to the trunks and get candy, or they pass out candy to the kids, and that's always just a joy, because older people love. If you notice that you when you're in there, that you'll see some of the ladies have baby dolls.
I noticed that.
Watch when you go again, they'll have dolls, and they literally think that that's their real baby. Really? They love kids.
One of the things that amazes me about Zach is the consistent availability of his grace. Erik Erikson created a theory of 8 psychosocial stages, the final of which was either ego integrity or despair. Zach's youngest son is, by all accounts, heartbreaking. He is an alcoholic. He's currently in jail for domestic abuse, and he himself has taken advantage of Zach in ways that I cannot even fathom. Zach, like many senior citizens, supports himself through many different means. He's a veteran, so he receives assistance from the VA. He receives Social Security. He worked many jobs after leaving the Army, including Bilo and a bakery, and he receives retirement pensions from those, but each individual account is minuscule. He makes enough to know that he doesn't have to worry every month, and his son was unable to look past what he saw as provision. Elder abuse takes place in many forms. It takes place in the physical, in the sexual, and in the financial. In many ways we don't even realize. Zach has dealt with this, and in spite of all of it, he loves his son selflessly. He has reached a place where he understands that his son is now an adult, and he cannot force his son to be anything that he has not yet become on his own. He accepts that he is a man himself, who is imperfect, but who has tried, and who is always striving to do better and to love well. In my opinion, Zach has reached a state of ego integrity, one which I can only hope to achieve when I reach his age.